Broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command. Fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
Sci-Fi podcast.
Hello, this is episode 39 of the Sci-Fi podcast. Hello. We're doing this a bit off the cuff. We're doing things a bit different tonight, and we're sort of showing you some of our secrets. Martin, how are you?
Annoyed.
It's been ages since I talked to you. Why are you annoyed?
Because I got married 4 times. I've had 6,000 children. I've served reality 42 times in the afternoon. And came Lord and Emperor of the Universe. And I got back to do this podcast at precisely 7:30.
Oh, well, that's brilliant. And
that's I've done all that since.
But you didn't go to a parallel universe, though, did you? That's the one thing you didn't do today.
I went to many parallel universes and left my mark. And I will aim the big in every universe I went to. And every solo one podcast in every alternative reality, I asked the same big question. Does Luke Skywalker have in his X-Wing and not one of your versions of counterparts?
We have got to do a hashtag for that. What can we do for a hashtag for that? That could be
hashtag
funny.
having the shit in an X-Wing.
Oh, Star Wars toilet. Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, all right. We'll have to think of something like hashtag Marvel Virgin. We're going to be doing things a little bit different tonight. We're going to be reviewing the fourth Doctor era, but obviously this is Tom Baker. But the reason we're doing that is that we actually are hoping that we're going to get about a guest in about half an hour's time.
Yes, we're having a guest now.
Yeah, this is Neil Cole. He's in sunny Northumberland, and he has a story to tell about a Dalek he had in a shed outside his property. And basically, the people of Northumberland, well, not all the people, but the council wanted to stop him from having it, and he's had quite a big following out there, and it's going to be certainly interesting to hear his story. But before that, we have got a few bits of news. We want to talk about the fourth era of Doctor Who. We might even do a cancelled name if we can squeeze it in. We're just going to wing it and see what happens. So let's see what happens. So let's go to the news, Martin, and see what you got. Here we go.
Working. Solar Sci-Fi news.
All right, let me start off with the news on my end first, and then we can hit what you've got. I have heard that there is some good information as to why The Matrix 4 is going to be very exciting. And it says in this report, despite the bad sequels, it says that despite how bad the Matrix sequels were, which I actually personally like them sequels, but that's just me, The Matrix 4 is still an incredibly exciting prospect. While the latter 2 sequels in the franchise weren't as well received as the first film, yes, they weren't as good as the first film, but I still think they had some elements I liked. Either by fans or critics, there's still much to look forward to in terms of the belated 4th movie. Released right at the tail end of the 1990s, The Matrix defined the cultural obsession with the internet and cyber culture at the time, presenting high-concept, hi-fi story of simulations. Let's have a look what it says about it. This is all stuff we know. We want news about it. Let's go down, second one. Alright, so here it says, despite the negative reception of the sequels, recent months have been a steady rise in hype from the return of the franchise for several different reasons. One of the biggest factors in the air of mystery surrounding the upcoming sequels is, if anything, the lack of substantive information has helped to grow the hype. Aside from the return of Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu... Have you actually read this already? This seems familiar, this story. Have you heard this one before, or am I going mad?
I don't know.
Well, let's keep reading it anyway. Sorry if it's...
I'm stuck in an alternative reality.
You're still not back in our universe. Right, it says that with the resurgence of popularity helps market any film in its currently, as well as the additional casting choices. Nothing is known about the story surrounding the film. There are many different factors to play here, of course, including which cycle of The Matrix the movie takes place in, whether or not Keanu Reeves will once again be the one, or the fragile peace established between the humans and the machines at the end of Revolution will continue to last. In an era which studies and movie trailers give away far too much information prior to the movies even releasing, it's refreshing and even exciting to a major studio release coming up a little with no content being shown. Do you know if it's actually been filmed yet, The Matrix 4? Do you know how far it's gone?
No, but they're always coming out with that, aren't they? You know, it's going to be exciting and fresh.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The fourth.
It's just
not even imaginative. It's the fourth one, isn't it?
It's a bit like
you know.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with the last Matrix.
No, I kind of liked it, but the thing is, I will concede that it got unnecessarily sort of jumbled and complicated by the fourth one, and some of the, because in the first one it was more like it was just humans and the what were they called, the soldiers that were chasing them. I can't remember the name.
The Sentinels.
In the Matrix. What was the characters with the glasses, and they weren't police.
Oh, agents.
The agents. The agents.
Yeah.
The agent. But in the second one, they had all sorts of different programs running around, and it did get a bit confusing. I still liked it, but it did get a bit.
Well, confusing. No, I mean, obviously as a science fiction fan, you have you've got the movies, but I think for me where they went wrong, I think they got so greedy after the first one because it was such a hit.
Yeah.
Which is a spectacular film.
Oh, it was.
Also, it reset the film industry, did the first one.
It was groundbreaking.
It was. But I think they got so greedy that they just rushed it out.
Yeah.
As quick as possible. And it came this special effects spectacular, and people were just getting bored.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, like that old saying, is it the second one? Is it the third one where he's fighting like 1 billion Agent Smiths?
Yes.
And it was getting a bit boring, but I got like that with Lord of the Rings in, I think, the third one. I was bored stiff.
I can see that they're very well made, but again, it's a fantasy thing rather than science fiction.
Yes,
I never quite click with it the same as other things, even though I do appreciate that they are good. But as you say,
I just think that when you've got overhype on special effects, you can get rather bored. I mean, it's like sometimes you watch these big epics, and you think, oh God, when's this going to finish? Even though it's spectacular effects.
Yeah.
I've seen all this before.
A lot of people said
a good story.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said that with the Star Wars prequels, that there was so much eye candy.
Yes.
I like the prequels, but I can see that. I mean, the more recent ones, they had a bit less. It wasn't quite crammed into every single shot quite to that extent.
A lot compared to recent ones. The prequels were a masterpiece.
Do you know what? Everyone now has changed their minds about the prequels, especially the third one. I still think the third one is absolutely fantastic. I love the third one.
Okay.
Do you like the third one as well? Revenge of the Sith?
I don't know. I enjoyed it when I saw it at cinema, but I've tried watching it a couple of times. I just lose interest.
Really? Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. No, I consider it actually one of my favourite Star Wars films, and I'm sorry to say that. I really have to admit that I really like it.
They're gonna.
I know. I can't help it.
The big contract's out on you tonight. I'm telling you.
Oh God, that's it. We're gonna be blacklisted now all over the internet.
Took over $1 billion. So I mean.
Yeah, I know, but I like it.
That bad. People went to see it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. What other news have you got your end? Anything to share?
Right, we've got apparently William Dafoe's going to be the Joker.
Oh no, I have seen him in some things, but I know he's a good actor. He's quite well known. Yeah, he's a good actor. I mean, do you think he'd be good? Do you think he'd be good as a Joker?
I think he was in Spider-Man, wasn't he? Yes.
Oh yes, he was.
He's got that weird face,
slightly kind of the odd kind of way he looks is not the norm.
Yeah, that's why he's always he's like when he was in he reminds me of Christopher Walken.
Yes, I can see that.
Another weird sort of act.
Slightly non-standard, but because he's slightly non-standard, he stands out, and that's why his roles.
Yeah, he's got that.
Slightly quirky look. I agree. Yeah.
And we've got a new Wolverine as well.
Oh, okay.
Not Hugh Jackman. I was hoping to bring him back for one, but they've got some guy called C. Dacre Montgomery who plays Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Okay.
I don't know this guy. He's about 20 or something. Dacre Montgomery picks up close to plays Wolverine in the brand new design. Imagine a new version of the mutant. He's in. Who is this guy? With many fans still wondering how it will be introduced into the MCU mutants. Right. Stranger Things star Dacre Montgomery. I I've not seen Stranger Things yet, so
I've seen the first season of that. It was actually very good. I've not seen the rest of it.
Power Rangers as well.
Oh well, I've not seen that. I've got to watch bloody Power Rangers.
Bloody Power Rangers.
I know. This is.
We should have done better.
Go on. We can. I mean, in the future, maybe we can. Although we do cancelled Nay, we can always sometimes do the. I mean, they're both our regular slots, but we can sometimes bring back Predator.
I'd like to see the Power Rangers get massacred.
Oh, I'd like that too. I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't like Power Rangers.
No, they're terrible. They were made in the mid-90s, were they? I mean, I just remember they used to be on like in the morning, and they were awful.
Still making them now. They're still making them now. You've got Power Rangers Super Force, Power Rangers. Yeah. Just new about 1890 series on.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I even saw the film. That was terrible as well.
No, but I couldn't watch that. I mean, I do like sci-fi, but I couldn't watch that.
I always fancied Kimberly the Pink Ranger when I was younger. That's why when I was younger.
During your hormonal time kind of thing. Mind you, would have been about...
Yes, when I was a man.
Well, yeah, I was going to say you would have been about 25 when that was on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Big Power Ranger.
Yeah, Kimberly was about 22. Yeah, so...
I mean, the other weird one was the Teletubbies with Tinky Winky and Lala.
Well, I didn't fancy bloody Tinky Winky.
Oh, God. Tanky Wanky.
One of them getting sacked.
Oh, yeah, I think he was.
There was some big national scandal about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He'd been out and come out of some stripper bar or something, wasn't it?
Well, I thought that was someone from Blue Peter, actually, but it was something like that. It was one of those kiddie shows.
No, that was embarrassing, that. When
what was the one in Blue Peter?
Producer went on telly and apologised for him.
Yeah, he actually came on the actual show at the beginning, was saying this. We've had to terminate the contract with this guy.
Oh, for God's sake! I
know.
I mean, come on, what the old BBC's full of it.
Oh, I know it is.
You know what? Because he got caught.
Yeah, and after the Jimmy Savile thing and all the Terry Hall and all the other things.
Yeah,
oh, God.
Yeah, and you've got Richard Batsley. His career prospered after that. He ended up on everything after that.
Yeah,
and he's in America now. He's got his own show.
Yeah, it is quite amazing how sometimes. It's a real weird one. What other news have we got? I did.
Yeah, we did do Predator versus Blue Peter, didn't they? Blue Peter lost, didn't they?
Oh, did we do Blue Peter?
It was the fair pass. Was
it? Oh God! Was the Shep the dog involved in it? I can't remember.
Everybody got massacred.
Then the Golden Labradors one, and they didn't they have George the Tortoise? We didn't have, and we didn't have George the Tortoise though. He wasn't involved, was he?
Yeah, I could tell you a story about George the Tortoise.
Come on, then we might as well. Go on.
Well, I had this mate years ago. He was in this. He worked with this band called the Reggae Philharmonic Orchestra,
right?
And they played on Blue Peter, and he told me that the tortoise was dead. And after the finished film, all production crew were kicking it about. It was dead. They were all sliding it on the floor and that. And I'm being saying I'm not making it.
No, I'm not disputing what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, so how did it get?
So it was dead. I'm sorry, mate. I don't mean to destroy your childhood, but the tortoise, it was dead. Sorry, mate.
I don't know why. I don't know why Blue Peter was. Is it still on? Do they still make Blue Peter?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It was on for like 40 years or something. I know. I don't think about very much of it.
Something like BBC Kids.
CBBC or something. That's what it might be on.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
I don't know. That's interesting, isn't it? I know.
Yes.
So there we go. George the Tortoise and Blue Peter.
I don't know if it's sci-fi, but it is a sci-fi star. Will Smith.
I quite like Will Smith. Yeah. What about him?
Yeah. I'm a bit annoyed about this. I don't approve of this. It's they're remaking Planes, Trains and Automobiles with Will Smith.
No,
they're doing it. Will Smith and Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's a really funny guy, but they're doing Paramount Pictures set to remake of the classic John Hughes 1987 road trip comedy Planes, Trains and Automobile as a star vehicle for Will Smith and Kevin Hart.
Oh, please!
They just leave the bloody.
They recently did National Lampoon's Vacation with the Sun. It wasn't that good, and Chevy Chase had made a brief appearance. But it was just phoning in just to get a $1 million payback or something. No, that's not good.
And last bit of news. Hashtag Marvel Virgin. Silver Surfer movie will reportedly feature a cameo from an Avenger, so there's going to be a Silver Surfer movie, which I'm quite happy about.
Wow. Well, I promise you we are going to do an Iron Man review at some point. I'm going to give it a watch again, because I thought, and that's a Marvel thing, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Have you moved on to Captain America?
No, not yet, no. Is it? I know.
Why can't I just sit down this weekend and watch
I just zone out. I just don't think about doing it. I don't know why. It's just not in there. If you send me a message this week saying watch Captain America, it'll pop up on my watch. It'll pop up on my watch and I'll do it. Yeah.
Floating off.
Well, yeah.
Floating on my luxury yacht.
Yeah, and then you can sort of like...
I'm just going to go to send a text message to my Solo One partner, and Michael, I am sending you a message saying, can you now please watch Captain America at 5 o'clock?
Alright, okay, I'll look out for it.
I can't do that. It's not right. Right.
Well, I can set a timer. I can set a reminder.
It'd be like, every... Right, okay.
Yeah, and I can send you a reminder
just
to watch
Captain America.
All right.
Watch Captain America. Watch Captain America: Civil War and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Well, let's do one at a time. And you've got to watch The Mist still, because that's a good film. I want you to see The Mist.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Is that with all the monsters in the fog?
Yeah, it's good. No, it sounds cheesy, but I thought it was a really good film. Actually, I don't know whether you'll like it. I thought it was excellent.
Okay, I've got it. It's on my computer. I'm going to watch it.
Brilliant. All right. Okay, that's a deal. So we'll help each other out with expanding our sci-fi. You don't sound... Honestly, it's
I don't want to get a text this weekend going, have you watched The Mist yet?
No, I know.
7 o'clock.
No, I won't do that because that'd be annoying. It'll just drive me mad. Right, shall we... Any other news before we go?
No, that's it. Shabba dabba doo. Shabba dabba ding dong. No.
Wow, that's cool. That was a weird sound that came out of your mouth anyway. It sort of went... What was that noise? Was that Skype or what? That sounded like you turned into an alien for a second there. I don't know what happened there. Right. I know. I don't know. Right, let's go into our focus of the week. Are you ready?
Yes, focus of the week.
Focus of the week. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week. Okay, because hopefully our guest, if he comes on, is going on. He said that his favourite Doctor is Tom Baker. So what we thought we could do is, I was going to stretch out the Doctor Who's a bit, but as this is a sort of unusual show, I brought him forward a bit. So, Fourth Doctor. Now I know that you said to me when you talked about John Pertwee how, of course, John Pertwee was your favourite Doctor. But of course, Tom Baker is literally the most iconic of the classic Who era. So, did you get used to Tom Baker when he took over very quickly after he took on the role?
It took a couple of episodes, but I was 5 or 6.
Yeah, so...
But I did, it didn't take long. It didn't take long. I think it was Sarah Jane sort of got me through because she was there,
Yeah, she was like the link.
Yes.
I think that's one thing which helps Doctor Who is if you get a regeneration, but one of the companions continues on to sort of get the viewer kind of a bit with familiarity, but also with it. And that's one thing which was really hurt the new 13th Doctors, because they completely reset everything, and a lot of people thought this is not for me. It's too different, and they had a different producer and everything. Go back to Tom Baker though. He had some great stories, like Pyramids of Mars was a good one. Any particular favourite stories that ring a bell to you?
What, in the Tom Baker era?
Okay, hang on.
Colin Baker era.
No, did I say Colin Baker? I meant Tom Baker.
No, I did. I said Tom Baker. My fault.
Oh, okay, go on.
I always get this stuttering back of my note when I mention the name Colin Baker. It's very hard for me to say it. Is there any good episodes? Can I lie? Is it all right if I tell a big lie?
You can say. Well, we're talking about Tom Baker, not Colin Baker. Oh, do you not like Tom Baker?
I know, we're on about Colin Baker.
No, Tom Baker, not Colin Baker.
Are we on about Tom Baker?
Yeah, we've already done Colin Baker. That's what I'm confused about. That's right. Go on.
Tom Baker. There's about 20 episodes of his that stand out for me. Planet of Evil for some reason.
Okay.
It's Planet of Evil. The first Simon episode, but I suppose for me the best one, Genesis of the Daleks.
Okay. Sorry, I'm hearing.
And the one when he goes back to Gallifrey, the assassin one.
Oh yeah. Did you think that the Doctor went on for too long? His particular regeneration?
I think the first. How many seasons did he do?
I think he did 7. I think it was.
I'd say the first 3 to 4 years were superb, but then somewhere it got a bit bad. It got really cheesy because he had they brought him into it, and I hate him.
Oh, John Nathan Turner.
No, it's that assistant. I don't even say his name. I detested him.
Oh, don't you talk about my Adric. Don't you talk about my... No!
That's when it got shit. Sorry, it did. It got terrible when he came into it. I couldn't stand him. You know, but it got bad. It wasn't bad. I just stopped sort of watching it. Plus, I was a teenager by that time as well.
Right.
It was just, there were so many assistants. It was like they were trying to sabotage it and get it off.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like the downfall of the early years were Leela, Mary Tam, the 2 Romanas, and all that. It was just that Harry Sullivan. They were just spectacular.
Yeah.
The scale of the stories. Pyramids of Mars, which is my all-time favourite.
Oh, okay. Did you? I quite liked the last season, even though he kind of like he was sort of phoning it in more the last season. Did you like Logopolis, Warriors of the Deep? I mean, obviously you hated Adric, but did Adric sort of spoil the last season for you?
I liked the one with the Melka, where the Masters
TARDIS,
the Keepers of Draken.
I thought that was a really good episode.
I thought that was very good, and I like Logopolis.
Logopolis is one of my favourite, actually.
Yes, I like
Doctor Who episodes. Yeah. I really did like that. I thought it was a very strong story.
I like the concept of that as well, that entropy and all that.
Yes, and the TARDIS being within the TARDIS as well. It sort of got all confused and stuff. I thought that was really good. Right, hang on. I've just heard from Neil Cole, and he says he's ready to come on. So I am going to try in a second to get him on. I'm going to see, because I've not added someone. This is on the cuff. Okay.
So you were saying about Tom Baker's, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Logopolis, yeah. But the early years, definitely for me.
Cool.
Plus, with him, you went to Gallifrey for the first time as well, which were interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But what did you think about his regeneration? Were you impressed with that, or?
A lot of people got a bit confused with that, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are still trying to get their heads around it now, aren't they?
Yeah.
What they called the Watcher or something? It was some future incarnation of him.
Yeah, it was, and it was. I actually didn't mind it, but it wasn't your conventional regeneration, was it?
No. Okay. But the Doctor's not a conventional Time Lord, is he?
No, he's not.
I like the Master in that time frame, when he were desperate, when he were like mutated and that. I really did like the Master when he were like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the Master being desperate for it to stay alive, who were more dangerous.
Right, yeah.
Which I liked, and I loved that clock he travelled about. You know, that clock.
Yeah, I know. Because it was like that for a while, and then in the next Doctor, it was more like a pillar, wasn't it? It was like a metal pillar.
Yes.
So just to finish off with the Fourth Doctor, you're very pleased with it, and what we'll do in a minute, because we've got our guest coming on, we'll ask Neil in a second as well about his experience of enjoying the Fourth Doctor. He's one of your favourites, isn't he? I think you really enjoyed him. Any last words about the Fourth Doctor?
Shoot, Adric. It was a fantastic moment when he crashed into Earth and started the human race.
But that was the Fifth Doctor. That was Earthshock. So that was a whole different regeneration. I liked it. I thought that the Fourth Doctor's era was good fun. And of course, it was the only time when an actor had been in the role and he's still not been beaten. He was in it from something like about 1974 to 1981, I think, which is a pretty impressive feat for any actor. And it's strange now that most actors tend to just do 3 seasons or series and then they move on. But a great time to be a Doctor Who fan when he was on. And I'm certainly glad that I've got every episode which featured him. Thank you very much for that. Right, we have got something new, or something very different for tonight's show, or today's show. We have got our very first guest, who is somewhat big on the Doctor Who front. He's well known for having some issues with the Allendalek. We're going to hear all about him. That is Mr. Neil Cole. Hello, Neil. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks very much for having me on.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I came across your story, which we'll obviously ask about in a minute, on Facebook, and it's a very, very interesting big story for a Doctor Who fan. We're obviously all Doctor Who fans ourselves. So do you want to give us a bit of a backstory as to what happened with you and this particular, how it all started off, and we'll go with from there.
Yeah, in short, I decided, well, when I was a small child, I went to Blackpool in 1975 when Tom Baker just started.
Right.
And it blew me away. The Blackpool Doctor Who exhibition blew me away.
I think I went there at one point.
Yeah, summer's day and a 5-year-old, no VHS or anything like that.
No.
You went down, you went downstairs, and there was that year's Monsters in front of you, and I just from that moment on, it was like the Santa Claus moment where your reality's blurred, and you sort of like, is this real or isn't it? You kind of know it's fiction, but you're not, and it was magical. And I always wanted to make a museum. Now then, I realised that financially, I wasn't born into the greatest circumstances, so that was going to be very unlikely. And then, just through sheer hard work, I guess, and patience, and a little bit of good luck here and there, I ended up creating a little museum, because we got this house here in Allendale, Northumberland, which is the sort of house I never thought I could afford. Now, when I say that, it was a wreck. That's the key thing. I got a 4-storey Georgian townhouse for less than my little 2-up-2 down with no garden down the road. It was such a wreck of a house. But I'd done some building work with a builder when I was in my 20s, and I thought, no, I'm not scared of graft. This is my chance. This is my chance to have a place to put a collection. Right. That's how it begun. So then, basically, I took what was a listed building, which I didn't, you know how naive you can be. Sort of 45 when I moved in. Yeah. Didn't even realise, really. I knew the building was listed, and I thought, it's going to be fine. Well, what's a listing?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, basically, we got to the point where Netflix got involved, because I got a reputation for being this nutter working, because I was full-time teaching, working round the clock trying to do this building and putting monsters in it, and word got round, it looked a bit weird, and then it came to the opening. Everything was going great, and for 20 years I've had a Doctor Who club at my local school, which I've run, and we built 2 Daleks over the years. Classic Doctor Who, I stress.
Of course, yes.
Of course. And in a nutshell, we got one of the Daleks had sort of outgrown the room, and I thought, well, it'd be great to have a Dalek outside the museum, because Blackpool had the Sentinel Dalek.
Yes.
Blackpool.
Yes,
they
did.
We need a Sentinel Dalek. So, in all naivety and with good conscience, I stuck the Dalek outside my front door, and we then stuck a tarpaulin over it.
So it's protected, obviously.
I hate to break the myth for anyone watching. Daleks,
yes.
Yeah, there's a bit of MDF in a Dalek, and they don't do too well. They don't do too well in the wet. So put a tarpaulin over it, and it looked terrible. And we've got neighbours. We are in a marketplace, but we've got neighbours. And just my wife and I were pretty courteous and tried to get on with everyone, really. And we just thought, well, that looks horrible. Daleks with tarpaulins look rubbish. Yeah. So we went to a local craftsman up the road, because where we live is full of people who've got sort of traditional skills. It's that sort of place. And this bloke was, I'll build you a shed for it, no problem. So bespoke Dalek shed. It's a beautiful little shed.
Right.
It's absolutely fine. And we stuck it there. And the opening went, where John Levine came up to open everything. It was absolutely great.
I saw the footage, actually. It was interesting.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was lovely. It was a dream come true. And he was so nice with my children. He came up in uniform and introduced them to my daughter, who loves John Pertwee's Doctor. It was just fantastic. Yeah. Had people from all over the world came to the museum. You could, for the opening, a lady travelled from France for the weekend to the opening. It was incredible, really.
Right.
So everything's great, and the village is like, yes, because we're in what's classed as a deprived rural area, and our council, Northumberland County Council, are all sort of like, we're famous for the Roman Wall up here, and so they're trying to get people up to this area, you know. So this is just like, wow, you've got a totally different audience of people who are coming to the North Pennines now, who it's generally walkers, you know, or you're sort of really sort of wilderness historians, I class them as, you know, they're sort of like, I want to come and see where tuberculosis started, that kind of history.
Yeah, that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. I want to walk in the rain and see the lead mine, remains of the lead mines, that kind of thing. Well, what you had now was film buffs and Doctor Who fans and families and readers, different people coming to the area, you see. So it was all good. The village was like, yeah, this is brilliant. And then Northumberland County Council, wowza. Well, that shed, unbeknownst to us, shouldn't have gone there. No,
that's
just
right.
listed building. Even though it wasn't attached in any way, and they just basically said it's got to go. And how we know, though, why I got so cross, because I'm generally very affable and I will do anything to try and accommodate people.
Sure.
I was teaching in the classroom. I got a phone call. Well, several phone calls. My phone was going off like a firework, and it was the local friends of mine in the village were ringing me, saying there's 3 really nasty-looking people at your door. And my wife is a psychotherapist. She does CBT counselling in.
Sure.
So she had clients in. There's 3 goons at the door. You know, like sort of like, you know, when you watch those things like "We'll Take Your Car Away" programs, you know?
Yes.
There's 3 guys.
Well, bailiffs or something. Yeah.
There's these 3 guys at my door. I've never done a thing wrong. I've never stepped a thing, you know, put a foot wrong in my life. Banging at the door every 15 minutes. My poor wife's, you know, a professional therapist. She's been with the NHS for 20 odd years, gone private here. And there's these guys at the door, and they're sitting looking in through the window outside. Turns out we just didn't know what the hell was going on. There was friends saying, should we go to the house and help your wife because it looks really nasty? Turns out it was the county council to tell us to move the Dalek. It was like,
God.
You are joking. You're joking.
But surely they should have given you a bit of warning before coming at your front door and being all sort of confrontational and giving you such a shock. Surely they would, you know, give you a bit more of a warning, give you a bit more information.
They did send us a letter which just said, please move the shed or we'll take action. That was the day before. No, 20. And then I put that letter on Facebook. This was the whole start, because the thing is, people were saying to me from the county council, "Oh, you mustn't do that. You mustn't annoy the planners." And I said, "Well, they've annoyed me. I don't care who they are. If I, as a teacher, sent a letter to somebody like that without any warning or anything, as a teacher, I just wouldn't ring a parent up and say, give them a really quite aggressive." I'd be sacked. I thought, you can't as a public body do that, and especially
there's a formula you do. I was going to say, because I'm a parent myself, and we've had issues with my family at their local school, and we've had to go up there, and they do things in a step-by-step formula. It's a professional way of doing it, and as you say, that's what you would expect in your particular circumstance.
Yeah, we put a Dalek outside. You know, we hadn't opened a secret radioactive dump. Do you know what I mean? Or it was, we hadn't decided to open a brothel stroke, whatever. The irony was, for a few years before we were there, one of the Northeast's leading drug dealers was living in this house and was under surveillance by the police, and he'd smashed the house up, which was part of the reason it was such an eyesore.
Which is why you can afford to buy it.
And you kind of think, in all those, and I did, you know, in one of my various very friendly communications with the council, I did ask them, with some surprise, why they'd never taken action when the house was being smashed up, and yet we come along and repair it because it was flooded. It was just fallen down. I mean, you know, the back wall was full. We repaired it, and our local county council immediately stepped in and just was really quite cross, because he said, they've spent 600 quid sending 3 blokes down to your door at a time when we're in austerity, and then you've actually repaired a house that's been in desperate need of repair for decades in the village, and this is how you get tread. And you brought business into the village. I mean, the night of the opening, the whole village and surrounding villages were booked up with B&Bs, all booked up with people traveling.
So if anything, it's bringing in business and it's bringing in interest to your area. It's a positive aspect.
Oh, this is why it's kicked off such a.
That's why it's so surprising. It's so surprising they react like that.
And when I then had to look into it, because they got so aggressive, I think what happened was the council realised. I think they'll never admit this, but I think they realised they'd done such a stupid thing and behaved so badly that they could not admit that. Do you know what I mean? And
they probably put themselves into a position where, because they put themselves at that point, they're stuck there. Even though if they could go back in time, they would think, if we hadn't done that. But that's probably what it sounds like. What happened, at least from what you're explaining.
And then the next, it just escalated. So it got to the point where the head of planning for the area was in London, dealing with a massive housing development, right? And the local county councillor, who was on our side trying to fight this for us, had rung her up, and he'd said, I've got some. The first thing she said was, "I'm dealing with a massive housing development with MPs here, and all I'm getting is emails about Dalek. What the hell's going on?" You know.
You can swear. We don't mind bad language.
I don't mind swearing.
No, go for it.
I like swearing. So but yeah, so you can imagine. So is this fucking Dalek? You know, all I'm getting is this. It's like. Then she came up from London, and I went to meet her this day, and I went to shake her hand. And imagine an angry Anne Widdecombe when you've got it.
You faced
scary.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. No,
and basically, I went to shake her hand, and she wouldn't shake it. And I just said, "Look, I'm really sorry this has got to this point, you know. But let's just rectify it. Let's just find a different way." And she just wouldn't. She then accused us of being criminals. That was when my wife, who has worked with vulnerable people, schizophrenia and mental health problems, all sorts of things, for 20 years, and given her, her life to helping people. And I've taught at the local school and done my best to help people. We're being accused of being criminals for putting some paving slabs down what was urine and tar, because it had been a pub next door, and it was just the way. The thing was, we got a bit frightened at that one because we were like being accused of criminal action on a listed property.
And it's not anything you'd never think you'd have to sort of face that. You innocently thought this would be an attraction.
No,
and it went in such a tangent.
Yeah, you put screws in the beams, and I'm going, well, it's riddled with bloody screw holes.
I mean,
years old.
You get people. Unfortunately, you get like Jobsworths. In life, and they have this perverse logic that if something's different and it's out of place for them, they will become an obsession. Yeah,
and that's the unfortunate thing. You don't always know how. Every time you meet a stranger, you don't know how you're going to interact with them, and sometimes you can be good mates, and other times you can turn out as enemies. But the most important thing is just to try and be open-minded with people, and until forced to think otherwise. So what happened after that? What was the next point after the infamous meeting with the Anne Widdecombe lookalike?
So my local county councillor had agreed to get us all in a room, the planning department, the heads of planning department, all together, because the press had been so powerful. Basically, they'd clogged up their email system. There'd been so many Doctor Who fans had complained. There was a woman in LA was ringing the county councillor, who I didn't know, but she was ringing him every morning at about 2 a.m, saying, "Is my good friend Neil Cole okay? Are you protecting his Dalek?" and all this sort of stuff. So he was getting this to his house.
Good accent, by the way.
Well, not really, but thank you. But so then the head of planning agreed to meet, as long as there was no protests outside. And I thought, for goodness sake, what do you think's going on? It's not Chernobyl, Anyway, so she arrives from London, and she was just like an angry Anne Widdecombe, basically. And I went up, I remember, to shake her hand. She wouldn't shake my hand. And I was just there, for my mind, this was like a chance to calm the whole thing down, and just come to a solution. We were ready just to say, look, I just want to get on with my museum. I've been opened only a month before this kicked off. This is my life's dream project. And instead of restoring the next Doctor Who monster or whatever it is, all I'm doing is writing emails to the council, and being interviewed by goodness knows what. So she didn't want to know. She went for us in this. Thankfully, I had a solicitor with me that day in the village. Again, the village pulled together. The village built Daleks. There was Daleks.
I saw that on your footage where people were in their gardens.
Yeah,
and that was amazing. People were doing that.
What you don't realise is that they were the dregs of what had been. The meeting was stalled, so they were all out in force before she came. Then she cancelled. and came again. By that time, they'd calmed down. The hay bales were Daleks. There was pictures of it. Was incredible. The kids in the schoolyard had done giant Daleks on the yard. They were all over the place because the village, I think, just empathised with me and saw my frustration. And to cut a long story short, my wife and I were in this room with the council team, and they just called us criminals. They said, "You've created criminal damage to a listed building." They went in and they didn't ask to go in. They should have. They went in. They looked around the beams, which are 300-year-old beams. Which we pulled about 2,000 screws out and nails out of that when we repaired the ceiling.
Sure.
She said, "You've created all this damage. You've put, we'd hung a plaque to the ceiling. That's criminal damage." And my wife, who is, worked as an NHS CBT practitioner, mental health worker for 20 odd years, who just contributes to the community, and I hopefully have done the same through teaching.
Sure.
Being accused of being criminals, and it's like, what? And it did intimidate us. That it did. The way it was so full on. But 24 hours after that, it just made me more mad. I just thought, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, no, I won't move it. I'd fight till the end. No.
Yeah, well,
no.
It's a natural impulse It's a natural impulse to fight something when you know that it's completely unfair.
Yeah. And it was the way we've been treated as well. I just thought, I know there are probably people who've assaulted people not getting treated with the same contempt that we were. And I've created a local business. And not only that, I kept trying to see the person who complained in the first place was on the parish council in the village, and she was basically a known troublemaker for complaining, but she caused a lot of problems for people. The rest of the parish council thought this was the best thing to hit the village for years. They knew, they could see it. They said this is just what the village needs, because the post office was always on the brink of closure. The co-op, we'd lost 2 pubs, we'd lost 4 businesses, I think, in 2 years, and we need footfall. So this was just great. So the person who complained, the parish councillor who complained, I'm not finished with this. Ultimately, I want to put forward that she's not fit because she doesn't like science fiction. I've always said,
like Michael Grade or someone like that. You know what I mean? Makes it even harder for you.
Or a Jane Eyre mannequin with a penguin classic. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Go on, Martin.
With the parish council, that everybody in the villages took your side. I live in London, so I don't like a parish council. That's like a village council, isn't it? It's like a smaller council.
Yeah.
Could you not stand?
I'll be honest.
Do you not put yourself forward to stand?
There was a few people wanted me to be fair, and I think in another life, yes. The thing with this museum is, it's taking me. I've been teaching and working full time. I'm stopping actually this year, but the museum is a complex beast. You take something like this on, I hadn't realised just how much is required of it. Obviously, beyond the opening, beyond actually manning it, you get people like Mike Tucker, who's professionally restoring props and making models. Well, I do the restoration here, but that's all in my spare time for nothing. You know what I mean? And there's just too much. I do the artwork. I do the sort of. I just finished this today. This is the sort of artwork I do. That's a sort of a. I don't know if you can see that there. It's that screen. The screen will let. Yeah. Anyway, so I do every.
So what was it? Because obviously this is audio. Was that what? Because it didn't show up on mine. What was it? Is it a Cyberman or something? What was
it's
your
a
image?
Dalek picture.
Oh, it's a Dalek. Yeah. Sorry. Just to save people on the order. Yeah, but you obviously got skills in that environment, so it's nice that you can create that, but you're having all this resistance to what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
so it was one person. Because this all started off the beginning. It was just one person has caused all this problem.
But she will claim it's from other people who've complained to her. I don't believe that. I can't prove that.
Yeah,
but we all know the consensus in the village is, if you look at a graph of all her complaints to every proposal on a graph, this is what I'm compiling actually. It's way off. Everyone else is letting most things go. This is she just doesn't want any change in the village at all. none.
Okay, no.
You know.
You always get those sort of people who have these very, very specific focus on what they want, and if they're in power, they will make people. The thing is, the world evolves. You know, things move on.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like what you're doing, which is a fun, fresh, more unique idea, and you're having all the support that you've had. And it's just such a shame that you've had all that positivity that you've been doing this. And I'm amazed at your museum and everything to have this one job's worth who's just been a thorn in your side ever since. And that's such a shame for you.
The only good thing is, to be honest with you, Mike, the publicity from it. I mean, we got on Have I Got News for You.
Wow.
I mean, it's on YouTube if you look for it. It's on the YouTube channel. But basically, the best night, my wife and I, sitting in bed, reading, and Lisa suddenly, my wife Lisa, she bursts out laughing. And I said, what is it? She went, look at this! And there on the screen was Planner's Intelligent Planning magazine, right? And it was Current Planning Intelligence for Today's Modern Planners. And the headline on this magazine was Northumberland Planners Laughing Stock Over Dalek Shed. And
you must have kept all this. You must have a huge archive of all this sort of stuff.
There is one thing that's worth watching on YouTube. Is the story of the Allendalek video. It's about 10 minutes.
Yes, I've watched it.
It's a compilation of the first half. I've got the second half to do yet, but it all culminated anyway last summer into this meeting where I had to present to the county council. And I just raised. I thought David Tennant meets what you call her of prime suspect, Helen Mirren. Sorry,
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, Helen Mirren. My brain. I thought this sort of prosecutor was going to come in. It was like Trial of a Time Lord sort of thing. And I thought, the Valeyard's going to come in and just kill us.
The Valeyard, yeah.
I hate to use this term. It was two Karens who could barely get the PowerPoint.
Maybe she's like the master.
I think.
Or the Rani. She could be the Rani.
Nah, they're not that bad.
Maybe the person that started on. She could be like the master or the Rani, stuck in the village.
Well, they're stuck up. They could talk for as long as they want, and they could barely get their slides the right way up on this screen. And then I just wiped the floor with them, actually, because I thought, gosh, I'm 50. You're barely sort of 25, and I've been around the block a few times. And how dare you? I've earned my sort of place on this planet from graft and trying hard to do something, and I'm just not going to allow this. So basically, the council kind of supported me, because you got to remember, quite a few of the county council agreed with me. They were absolutely, the county council have had a hard time through this, but actually, bless them, there's a huge number who are just like, what the hell? I happen to know the deputy head of the council was a Doctor Who fan who was going, I hope this gets sorted out because I want to visit. And as I kept, one of the funniest bits of evidence I gave was there's a big museum in Newcastle called the Discovery Museum, which is a wonderful place, but it was an old Victorian building. And basically it's got nothing to do with military history, but outside they've stuck a 1970s war tank from Vickers Armstrong, a Challenger 2 tank. So I said, well, you will be, of course, at the end of this meeting, recommending that the Challenger 2 tank will be removed from the front of the Discovery Museum.
Yeah.
Because that's nothing to do with the function of that building. And of course they went silent. And I thought, because they said the Dalek, one of the arguments they said was, you don't need a Dalek outside because you've got one inside. And I said, well, people have got to physically know this is a museum.
It's a way of displaying what you've got and where it is. It's like a sign, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a remote
visual
place,
aid.
and it had become well known. People were driving their cars past. The little first school every day would go past and wave at the Dalek. And I thought, you miserable bastards, you'll take that away?
Yeah.
You sad.
The thing is, you see, from my perspective, you're obviously a very creative family. You've done something which a lot of people couldn't do. I could do some basic graphic design. That's my limit, and sound mixing. But what you've done from your own abilities is incredible. It is and so many people like us too, and obviously your colleagues and people that live around you have seen what you're trying to do. You're just trying to bring something positive to the world and demonstrate that. But as you've already said, all this flaring up has given you great publicity.
Yeah,
it's made you well known I mean, I know I live in Portsmouth. Obviously, I know about from the Facebook sites and stuff like that. And it's that's a positivity.
Yeah.
So what's happened from that point on? Is there more to your story, or what's happening from that point afterwards?
Where are we now with it all? Like,
there's more. There's more.
There's more.
If you go on the Facebook page, you'll see that the shed is going. Because what we found out was it's basically the lady who criticised the Dalek. She didn't want the Dalek. She really couldn't care about the shed. She hates
the Dalek. It's the Dalek.
Now,
Yeah,
I said before, if Jane Eyre reading a Penguin classic waxwork was sitting inside, it'd be fine. It's
specific taste.
Exactly.
It's a excuse because she hates science fiction.
Absolutely.
And Doctor Who and any iconic facts which are related to that.
So I mean, she's been quite snobby, isn't she? Really?
Yeah.
She's obviously up her own. Yeah, she's a bit up herself.
So basically, what I've said is, I realised that. Hang on, we need to think round this, because the county council were instructed to work with us from that big meeting. Well, the planning team, they haven't. I asked them, I said, look, if we can't have a wood building, what can we have? Glass or stone? They said, we can't give you any advice. So it was right, okay. So I thought, we just sat down, we thought, well, okay, that was my olive branch again, trying to be reasonable. So we thought, hang on. My brother-in-law is another creative type, and he was just having some fun with sheet steel, like you do.
As you do.
Yeah, and he was just starting to build things out of sheet steel and just enjoying the process. And I said, oh, David, you don't fancy making the Dalek, do you, out of one? And he went, yeah. And I went, we could have a metal Dalek, couldn't we? A weatherproof, all outside Dalek.
Oh.
So, what is nearly ready, it's all together, pretty much, is a totally solid steel Dalek, which is going to be unveiled. I'm a classic fan, right? So it's a screen accurate William Hartnell Dead Planet accurate Dalek.
Oh, fantastic!
Okay, one of the original designs. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's made in steel and it's weatherproof. So what she doesn't know, this councillor doesn't know yet, is that the shed. I've already said publicly, oh dear, the shed's going, the Dalek's going. Oh, so I've said all that. So everyone's like, no, and we've donated it to our local school who've looked after our children.
Oh, that's lovely.
So then, what's going to happen on the 24th of October? Sophie Aldred is coming here.
Oh yeah, Ace is coming along, right?
With real-time pictures of filming it, and they're going to film the unveiling. Sophie unveiling the permanently outside now steel metal Dalek.
Hey! That's fantastic. I mean, I'm going to ask a silly question, but will it be really secure? And if it's more exposed, could there be people who might be antisocial towards it and stuff like that? Are you worried about that?
I have to say, we have a TARDIS. We have what's called the Volvardis part.
I saw the car. Yes, I love it.
That was donated by a GP who drove around Europe dressed as Tom Baker, raising money for Mind. And it was and it was on the way to the scrap heap, and he said, "Do you want it for your opening?" And I went, "Yeah, oh, go on." Of course, the council loved that as well. There's nothing they can do about that.
They can't do anything about that. That's your own vehicle. No, they can't do that.
Well, it's dropping to bits, right? But what's going to happen is the original Allendalek Mark 1 is going to be built onto a trailer, right, by our local garage across the road in a glass case, and it's going to replace the car. So there's going to be with a number plate on. So there's going to be two Daleks there. There's going to be the Allendale Mark 1 on one side,
and the new one in the space
one,
and everything.
and to answer,
and there's nothing they could do about it.
They'll try, but all the locals have said if they try and pull one, we'll it in front of our house. We'll put it in front of there one night. Oh, the post office will have it for a night. We'll keep it in such constant bloody motion. The council
they'll just get sick of it.
They'd need a full-time team keeping tabs on it. And then the trailer one with Hello, It's the Allendalek. We thought we'd have like a weekly competition where we just drive it around the village somewhere up a hill and leave it there for a night. And the competition is, can you find the Allendalek tonight?
It's like geocaching, isn't it, for Daleks or something? Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds brilliant.
So suffice, and basically we've welded on hooks and things, and we're going to chain it down. But it's a weight. I have to say, the village itself, it's not the Bronx. There's
I was going to say I live in Portsmouth, and if it was down here, it would be smashed up within about 10 minutes of being here. So, do you know what I mean? It wouldn't last very long out in my neighbourhood, but so it sounds like you're covering a lot of the bases.
Yeah.
And it'd be, obviously this information you've told us, but surely your plans. Well, obviously it won't be from us, but will the council be made aware of your plans before you get the new Dalek installed and all that sort of stuff, or you don't think no? And also,
frankly,
silly question, but have they got more important things to worry about, and especially at this difficult time we're all going through?
Well, it was before pandemic when we had this big public meeting, which was great because the BBC turned up to film it. They told me they were going to film it, but they didn't tell the council until they were there, which was perfect. And of course, I was just ready, so I went, I'm happy to have it be filmed. So they were sitting there, and they went, okay then. And so, so that was all filmed then, televised. But what it was before the pandemic, so I just made the point in the meeting. I said, I really I feel a little bit ashamed about Northumberland Council for you, because we're in, there's hospital closures, and yet our local hospital, for example, had to stop shutting in the evenings, so from midnight you couldn't go anymore. And I said, so at a time when you're closing hospitals, you've got time to send 3 goons from a long way away to monitor our front door because of a Dalek in a shed.
Yeah,
and I said, I just feel that somehow you've got things wrong in the county.
Yeah, well. Listen, Neil, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, this has been edited, but there have been a few technical issues while we managed to get it done. I certainly will try everything I can to promote your story. If I've got my YouTube channel, I've got 50,000 subscribers.
Wow!
So if you got any content you'd like me to share on my channel, I would happily do that for you. And I think it's a fantastic story.
Thank you.
And I really do wish you all the very best. I will certainly make sure I keep an eye on all your movements.
Well, if you're ever up in the northeast, pop in.
Oh, I would love to see you. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit far away from you, but I certainly won't forget this story. And please just keep us advised as to go. I hope your museum continues to grow.
It's basically one of the biggest collections now of original props and costumes.
Props and things like that.
That's fun. That's a dream come true.
Absolutely.
I collect myself, and when you're owning stuff like memorabilia and collectibles, it doesn't matter. It's something you've wanted all your life, And I'm a Star Trek fan. I've got phasers, and to actually own this stuff and wear the
it gives it more. It makes it have a stronger link to the shows that we love, and I love Doctor Who, and I'm a big Sci-Fi fan. But I think that's. I went to the Cardiff Museum a couple of years ago before it closed. That was awesome. So I know from experience, when you see real props and real stuff, it really is. It's completely different from just seeing it on the screen. So, but listen, I'm running out of recording time on here, so I'm going to sort of wrap this up. But again, Neil, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Thank you also to you, Martin. We always end with a song because it's just something I like to do. So we're going to finish with I Am a Dalek by the Art Attacks. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's quite a funny song. I think it was done in the 70s or something. Like I said, best of luck, Neil.
Cheers,
and thank you. We will catch you next week on the Solo One Sci-Fi podcast. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
Cheers.